back. Hey, welcome to Pour Over Marketing. I'm Rob Southgate. Uh, I seem a little perkier than usual. I think I'm a little bit more awake, even though my voice doesn't sound like it. I've been up marketing already today, already doing my thing. I got a new mug. I want everybody to see, but I want to wait because it's freaking awesome. And I want to make sure we've got some people here to see it. Hopefully we'll have some people today. It was kind of a slow week as far as responses to me doing this event. Uh, I don't know if it's the timing. I don't know if it's when I posted it. That's always a question when you're marketing, paying attention to those things, timing and responses. I don't know if I was clear about that. So here I am marketing this show. I'm not doing a lot to draw in new people, and that's going to be a focus very soon, is trying to build this and draw in new people. But I've still been kind of building things out as we go along, which many of you that have been watching regularly have witnessed, right? You've been on this journey with me. But one of the important things that you want to look at as you're analyzing things is the data. And in fact, I think that's what we'll probably talk about for a little bit here, is the admin side of marketing. One of the things people hate. Don't worry about it. If you hate it, if you hate that stuff, you don't have to do a lot with it in the beginning because you're really getting your feet wet. You're really trying things out. And that's what I really encourage. With my students, I have this simulation they have to go through. And I tell them I don't care what grade they get on it at all. They could be the worst in class. They could get a 1 out of 25, or they could get a 25. They're going to get the same points as long as they're trying different things. Experiment, see what works, see what doesn't. When I talk about the admin side of it, the further you get down the rabbit hole of marketing and into whatever project you're doing, the more you're going to want to know some of the data. That's the admin stuff, the numbers and that. So, for example, with this show, I think I didn't post it. I've been experimenting with this, trying different days of the week to post that a new episode is available, a new event is available. And I still don't have a clear sense of what works best. I've tried it on the same day, like we finish here and I immediately put the event up. It kind of feels like that's too early. I feel like some people get excited and they say, yes, I'm going to go, but they don't actually show up. That's stuff that you need to note. So when you're marketing your business, and you're trying your social media, or you're trying live events, or you're trying a newsletter, you want to keep asking questions. I usually have I don't do well with a spreadsheet because I end up falling into the spreadsheety world. I usually do better by taking a notebook and just making scribbles and notes that only make sense to me. But it's stuff so it helps framework what's going on. So I'll write things in this case, like, okay, I posted on, see, this is where I do a spreadsheet. When I'm really doing the analysis, I just was doing this. If any of you are authors from Four Horsemen, guess what? I'm looking at your social media right now, and I'm writing all these things down. I'm trying to figure out when you're posting, how often you're posting, what types of things you're posting. That's the kind of stuff that a lot of people get turned off with marketing because they feel like, oh my God, I got to know all this stuff and I'm going to make a mistake. It's forever bad. No, it's not. Just keep trying stuff. Just keep doing things. But that data, as you get further in, you'll start realizing, hey, this data can be valuable to me. The problem is in the beginning, that data is kind of false. So like the stuff I've been gathering about this show, I've got 3 people here right now. Hey, all right. I posted this late this week. Sometimes I post it right after an episode. I've tried Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I'm trying to see, is there a difference in how many people show up? Uh, oh, you know what? We're not talking internet marketing, or we're not talking integrated marketing palooza yet. Let me get rid of that. There we go. We'll go back with regular old pour over marketing. Uh, so today, I don't know how many people we're going to get. I didn't get as much activity on the post that I made as usual. Now, I didn't post it until I think Wednesday. I don't have my notes in front of me. I think I posted it Wednesday, and I tried some different things as far as how I let people know. Um, this is a data thing. This is what's important. So, things that I look for are: what time did I post? What day did I post? Where did I post? That all matters. And then what methods did I use? So, where and methods are two different things. Where would be I posted to Facebook, and I posted these Facebook pages. Maybe I posted to these groups. Am I getting more juice off of the ones that go from me personally, or the ones that go to a group, or to the or I'm sorry, the Facebook page for, let's say, New Media Lab? Which one has the most effect? What time did I post it? All that kind of stuff matters. Now, once again, I know a lot of you are newbies at this. Uh, I don't want you to have that trip you up, because I know it does. I know it does for me. I want you to say, hey, in the future, this is stuff that I want to look at. Okay. And don't do it too early. Like, I'm just now starting to really question these things. I've been experimenting, but now I can go back and kind of look at the data and say, okay, what worked, what didn't. Um, and this one is kind of a weird one. I have not gotten the responses I normally get on the post, but I have 3 people here, which means, okay, something worked here. Now, I don't know. I don't know who's here. So if your regulars chime in, so I know you're here, and that way I get a little bit more data. How much of a personal touch do people need? I'm going to give you a great example of this. Oh, hey, Serena. Woo, that's a regular. Uh, good to see you're here. I'm going to give you a great example of this that actually literally just happened this morning, which might be why I'm a little bit jazzed. So, style and smarts. Wait a minute, but I don't know who it is when you say style and smarts. It's coming from you are a regular. Hold on. I'm a regular, but I can't tell because you've got a fake name there. Who is it? Oh, Rachel. Hey, Rachel. There you go. See, that's what I needed. Uh, it's funny. It's like on Discord, everyone has these fake names. I never know who I'm talking to. It makes me crazy. I use uh, podcast prof Rob, and it's got my picture, so it's real obvious. I get things like Stargirl, and the picture is like of a fish that's glittery, and you're like, wait, who is this? And it's like, oh, it's my mom. It's not my mom, but it's very strange. Okay, so anyway, and actually, Rachel, you will know this because you've been helping with this a little bit. So when we do Writers Row, we uh, we have advertising opportunities that are really, really solid. For some reason, with Writers Row, I have not gotten a lot of activity back from it. So, for example, and I know it works. That's why I'm saying I know it's solid. So, for example, we have our big, 30 by 40 booth, right? And it's got all the books and all the authors. And we have 4 TV monitors on this stand-up thing in the middle of Writers Row. And we run promotions and things all day, every day of the con on there. It looks really cool. We're the only ones doing that. We also have a signing booth uh, for the authors in Celebrity Row. So you could be sitting next to Elijah Wood if you're one of our authors signing. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like we are right there in the thick of it. And then we have our own panel room that basically this one falls on me. I take all the suggestions for panels and then I curate it and make this really fun experience. Uh, we get a lot of really positive comments about it. So I'm very proud of what happens in there. And what's kind of shaken out with Writers Row is I'm kind of out of the booth now. We figured out I run the entertainment side of it. I'm the voice on the microphone. I'm the one in the panel room running things and moving things. Molly is the runner back and forth and getting the authors where they need to go. And Maeve is working the register. And then everyone else is selling. And I mean, I'll swing in there and hang out a little bit, but I'm not really a salesperson in there. I'm doing the panel stuff. So in the panel room, advertising opportunities, that was backstory. That was lack of coffee talking. New mug I'm going to show you in a minute. Um, we sell advertising. You can advertise on the TVs. You can advertise in the panel room. We have these banners, these big 6-foot banners, and we sell blocks on it. We have also so anyone sitting there in a panel, you're watching this panel, sometimes we get full rooms, right? That banner is sitting there staring them in the face because we place it directly next to where the panelists are. We can put more than one. We also, if people want to put like those blade things, we sell the space. So if you want to have one of those blade things or your own retractable banner, you can pay for the space to do that in our panel room. We also have the option of a banner in the hallway right at our front door. Big exposure. And we also, if people want it, can put a monitor right in front of the panel table and stream video ads and stagnant ads. Okay. So, and then we also there's other things, right? But lots of options. And the reason we know this works is this is something that we did with our podcast marathons. Podcast marathons and these events cost something. Yet people aren't directly paying us for them. And we used to try to take donations to try to offset donations didn't work. Then we figured out we could do some of this advertising and make it affordable. Don't be greedy. Make it so that people are inclined to do it. Because as soon as you talk to the bigger companies, as soon as I go to Coca-Cola and I say, "Hey, we can get you on the banner," they say, "Well, you know what? We'll send you some cans of Coke, but you know what? We don't have any money." Right, Coke. I get it. You don't have any money. Um, with small press, with podcasts, with individual artists, they don't have a lot of money. But if we offer it at a reasonable price, hey, it's worth it because the exposure is great. I mean, think about it. You're an artist at PopCon. You're in booth 342, let's say. For $50, you can get a spot on our banner that you've created, looks really cool, and it says, "See me in booth 342." If you'd really do it right, and this is what I coach people on when they're doing it, have some incentive. Mention this banner, get 10% off. Come by, get a free keychain. You know what? It drives people. It works. So the offset of paying for a little advertising on site and having a good call to action, getting people over there is worth every penny. And that's why we price it where we price it. So anyway, oh, wait, I'm getting a message. Oh, okay. This is going to make this is making what I'm saying even better. So we've been sending out these sales letters and I don't like them because they're so much information. Like we try to make it short and sweet, but when I've done that, we don't get any responses. When I'm like, "Hey, we've got this advertising opportunity to be great for your restaurant. Here's like a basic thing. Go to this website and get all the information." People see it and they right past. When I put the whole letter that like, Here are a bunch of options. Here is why this will work for you. This like ridiculous thing. I think it's way too long, but we seem to pick people up when we do that. Once again, analyzing the data, which one worked, which one didn't, A B test this, right? Well, for Louisville, uh, I've sent a ton of things out, very targeted to the right things. And Rachel, who's on here, has helped out by sending some stuff out and trying to target like certain groups. And the response has been, "Mm, it's okay." Right now, it's basically paying for the banner, not paying for the extra that we need for gas and meals while we're there. That's really what we're trying to get. So yesterday, I had this thought, um, and there may be even somebody in here who's part of this group. Uh, there's a group called Books of Horror. I've talked about it on here before. I'm really loving this group. And next weekend, they have an event called Books and Brews at the Double Clutch Brewing Company in, I can't say brewing for some reason, in Evanston, Illinois. They're going to have 40 plus authors there. Turns out there's actually more now. And you can get your book signed. The afternoon, I believe, is free where all these authors are, but you can also do these. They've got these like breakaway things in the morning where, hey, for $50, you can go and have like breakfast with Jeff Strand and get your stuff signed and have a private conversation with him. It's awesome, right? And this event is turning out to be really something special. I've been doing interviews with a bunch of the authors and posting them. So if you want to hear these interviews, go to Books of Horror on Facebook or go to Alley Chats podcast. That's where I'm posting them. And I have video versions and audio versions, whatever. So anyway, I had this idea. I was like, look, for some reason, I'm not getting the motivation from people. I've gotten a couple of restaurants that are like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This is awesome. It is for the restaurants right there. People are staring at your restaurant all day while they're watching a panel. When they got to go eat, they're going to go, oh, hey, we should try this place. Right. Plus, we send stuff out, thanks in social media and put it on our website. I mean, like, there's a lot of value, tons of value that comes back. But for some reason, I'm not getting people in my net as much. So I had this idea yesterday that with Books and Horror, I'm pretty tight now with the admin, and I thought, I wonder if since they have 54,000 members, there's a ton of authors in there. What if I sent something, if I could post something to the authors and say, hey, if you guys are interested, we have this, and I gave a discount. Rachel, you can do a discount. Want to send more? Uh, and right away, the admin Tiffany wrote me back and she said, "This is really cool. This is really good." I sent her a link. She could see what it looks like and everything. She said, "This is really good." So she sent me, or she said, put admin approved at the top. Okay. I do the same thing to people. And then say what you want. So I this morning got up, I got approved into the group. So it's not Books of Horror. It's actually an offshoot group, which I love. It's a private group just for authors that are in the group. So they're in the other group mixed in with the fans of horror books, but then they have this other very private group. They let me in because of VP of marketing for a publisher. So I got in. And they approved me yesterday, and then they said, yeah, do this admin approved thing. I'm like, yeah, cool. So this morning, before jumping on with you guys, I crafted basically I took other material we've done and I shrunk it. And I actually made it a little bit more personal, talked about them specifically, and then gave them some ideas. I'm like, you can advertise your book, you can advertise an event you have coming up, you can advertise, like, I gave them a bunch of options, gave them a discount, said, contact me right away because we got to get these banners ordered. I put a deadline of next Wednesday. So anybody listening, if you want to advertise on this thing, reach out to me because I'll give you the discount. Love to get you on one of these banners or on one of the screens. I mean, it doesn't have to be books at all. One guy uh, just side note, one of the podcast marathons we did actually in Indianapolis, uh, a guy was a realtor, and he bought 4 of the panel slots and did this ad, "So and so realty, contact me if you're interested for a home." Afterward, I mean, it was great, right? Uh, sure. I mean, it looked a little strange to me in the middle of all this, like, podcasts, because a lot that's another one. We've done a lot of podcasts because it's cheap advertising, and it's like, wow, I can kind of cut through the noise here, right? Especially when I'm doing, panels talking about podcasting and your podcast is right there. People in the audience are going to subscribe. Also, because I tell them, hey, all these advertisers, they supported us. Go to their website, subscribe to their podcast, go to their table, right? So you get that extra juice too. And this realtor did this, and he actually said later, he said, "Yeah, I got some calls off of it." Did he? Did he not? I have no idea. Did he get any sales? I don't know, but he was really happy. I don't know how that one worked because to me, I look at it, I'm like, that was kind of an odd duck, but he said it worked. He's happy. So for this one, we're in Louisville. So I went to local restaurants. I went to amusement parks. I went to other events. I'm like all the things that should work. I went to comic stores. People that would love to have a presence in front of 20,000 geeks directly there. And response has been okay. But I tried this with books of horror this morning. That was maybe 15 minutes before I jumped on here. I've already got 2 that wrote to me and said, "Oh my god." Well, the second one says, "Oh my god, same." The first one was like, "I'm so in. I just sent you an email. Let's talk about options." Let's talk about options. I love that. And that was 15 minutes before we started. I turned off the notifications in case we're getting any more right now. So yeah, if any of you guys want to advertise something, 5-ish fangirls, if you want to spot on that banner, let me know. Half off. Uh, so the mug. Before I go any further, I got a brand new mug. Look at this. Is that not everything we talk about? The future is Indy, not Indianapolis. My whole world is full of Indy. My favorite stuff that I talk about: indie books, indie movies, indie music, indie art. What we're doing is indie podcasting. I mean, there are corporate. Even our network was an indie network. I love it. The future of all of this is indie. Serena, you want one of these? Wild Rumpus is a children's bookstore in, well, it's outside of Minneapolis. I believe it's in, it's not Edina. Oh no, I can't remember the name of the town. We just stayed in that town. Um, it's right near Edina. It's like between Medina and Minneapolis. But it's called the Wild Rumpus. It's this fabulous children's bookstore. Talk about great marketing. They decided to use their space as a marketing tool. So they really made it really an experience when you go in. Even going in the door, they had a custom door put in that has a small door in it too. So children can go through the small door. Children go through the small door, adults go through the big door, but it's built into it. So, of course, a lot of adults want to open the little small door and go through. They were telling us when we were there that that's like such an iconic thing that one of the Pixar artists actually used it as an inspiration for one of the doors that you see in Monsters Inc. So they said our door is in Monsters Inc. How cool is that? And they always have animals in there. They have cats right now. They used to have a chicken walking around. We found out that they had, yes, Wild Rumpus. That's what it's named from. Wild Rumpus, from where the wild things are. Yes, easy to remember. Uh, yeah. Just the name creates a striking visual. Yeah, it's fabulous marketing. And then they have these animals walking around, and it's like an experience. We found out that they had a pig at one point. I can't imagine that went well. They said it was for like a few hours. They had a horse go in there one time. They were actually brought a horse in for something, and they said, yeah, and then it, did what horses do. And that was the end of the horse in there. But it's just this like really cool space. They have a thing in the ceiling where it looks like a crack. Right now, it looks like the bottom of an iced over lake. So you see the bottom of a boat cracking through. Uh, my favorite was what they used to do. It used to look like an egg was cracked, and you could kind of see like breaking through. Uh, just really cool. And then just well curated bookstore. Uh, so anyway, at Wild Rumpus, in the midst of all this kid stuff, I found The Future is Indie and was like, we got to have it. Maeve was like, just buy it because I'm a tightwad, and I was like, I got enough mugs. I'm not going to do this. I got all crabby, and she was like, okay, that's enough. You need this mug, and now I'm so happy I have it. Yeah. Okay. So one last tip on the data stuff. So with this show, I'm trying to gather whatever data I can. With analyzing social media, I'm trying to gather whatever data I can. Now, I know we just want to be creative. And I know that's the part that excites us. And I know this is the part that we generally hate. Or it could be the opposite. You could be the one that loves the numbers and hates to create. But it seems to be we're one of the two minds. I'm one that loves to create, but I understand the value in the analysis. So I do like seeing that. I just don't spend my life doing it. You can do it for your social media. You can do an analysis of, and you try to think of all the different things that could be factors. What time? Where? What's the interaction like? That's an important one. Do people just put likes on it? Do they ever share it? Does it motivate them to click through to something? Do they ever do it? It's kind of like with a website. When you're building a website, in the beginning, it's nuts and bolts. You're putting together a model, right? And then over time, you might tweak it and change things and make it more cool. And then you start finding out about some of this analysis stuff, and you go, "Oh, well, I'll start looking at some of those numbers," and they kind of mean not much. The more you do it, the more you play with it, the more they start to mean something. And then at some point, you get into a little bit more advanced thing, and that's where it gets really cool. So, like on web building, and it reminds me that I've got to go back and fix a bunch of website stuff that we have personally for Southgate Media Group. Uh, we started looking at heat maps at one point, and it was really interesting because we got no heat. Uh, a heat map, you can go in and you can see where do people, where are they looking? It's kind of a weird thing, but it reads kind of where are people doing the most, whether it's a click, putting their mouse over it. Um, they base the where are they looking is also based on um, there are charts that show design for websites, and if you put your logo in the uh, upper right corner, let's say, does that on in general draw the eye there more, and that creates heat? How far down do they go before the heat cools? What can you do to make the heat double? All that kind of stuff. It's super interesting, and there are people that love doing that and are really absorbed by it. But for those of us that are like, "Hey, I'm afraid of marketing," or "I I hate that part of it," well, don't worry about it. Just know that eventually you might be interested to at least learn a little bit about it. It might give you some insights. I'm trying to do that with pour over marketing. I'm trying to figure out how do we break this through. Um, Last week I announced how this is likely going to be on a radio station. It could be going across to 1,000 stations. It's really cool. But you know what? In order for that to work and be effective, I can just put it on there and do the same thing. And yeah, I'll get listeners, and yeah, I'll get uh, interest in things. But it's that looking at all the data, trying to figure out like what works, you know, because that's radio. If I take a break at the top of the hour because it's a radio station and they want a news thing there, well, does that lose you guys? Is it better if it's 1 hour, or is it better if it's an hour and a half with a news break in the middle? Or does that just cut everything out? Do I want a half hour? Do I want to do it there and then jump on this? Like, that's a lot of questions you got to ask yourself and you got to analyze. But remember, you don't know that until you try. So be fearless. Keep trying things. See what happens. If it costs you $1 million to try it, maybe don't do that. Try not to spend a lot of money. I've done it with like Facebook ads when we had our this was actually with the podcast marathon because we were doing one every year. So we did 5 at the Blue Box. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, outside of the Blue Box. So that's 9. I thought we did 10. Maybe it's 9 different podcast marathons. It's actually pretty good odds when you consider we were one of the first, if not the very first podcast marathon out there. Most people can't do more than one a year. We did all those in like a 5-year period, maybe 6-year period. 5-year period. That's pretty good. Yeah, time to get back to it, I think. But we did some Facebook ad buys at one point. And like I said, you keep it cheap. Try things out. You know, for a Facebook ad, if you throw $30 in and you say, I want it to run for 1 week, I'm going to do $30. Make it easier. Do $5 a day for 5 days. So $25. And then try and target it. See what happens. What we found was it wasn't worth spending more than that. It was because it just needed to reach right around where we were doing the event. A lot of people think, yeah, but you're streaming it. You're doing all these things. Reach out. Get the entire city of Chicago. Guess what? They're not coming. They're not driving over, parking, doing all that stuff. Yes, there will be people that find it through your social media that are interested in that, but paying for Facebook ads, it might not be worth it. You know, you got to offset the cost. There's, once again, the data. You know, if it costs me $30 and I sell 1 ticket, did I make my $30 back? Well, in that case, no. And is it worth the loss? Ask yourself that. Not everything has to be a zero balance or in the positive category. What did I get off of it? So, like these ads I'm talking about at Indie Pop or at PopCon Louisville, if you spend $25 on an ad spot, and we put it up on the banner, if you think that needs to directly amount to $25 back or $25 plus back, you're already dead in the water. Because you're only thinking of it as a financial exchange when in fact you should be thinking of it as I'm trying to reach new audience. I'm trying to market myself. We have this I see this with authors that have to pay for their hotel room and they have to pay for booth space and they have to pay for parking and all that. Yeah, it gets expensive. And then they'll say, yeah, it wasn't worth it. You know, I spent $500 and I made 400. So man, I lost $100. Yeah, if you're losing 500, that's a problem. But if at the end of the day, it costs you $100 to have presence at a con, and I'm not talking through Writers Room, I'm talking in general. If it costs you at the end of the day $100, what did that $100 do for you? Were you just trying to make money there? I hand you a book, you hand me the money? Well, then you've run a loss. But plus you've got the cost of goods. Okay. We'll pretend that it's all a wash and then it's $100 loss at the end of it. Uh, but did you capitalize in other ways, right? Did you gain email addresses for your newsletter? Did you get followers? Did you get them did you take selfies with people, get them to tag you, get them to share the one you put up? Did you have fun with it to make it an experience that people were telling other people about? And then did your that $100 loss, did that reach a bigger audience? Then it might have been worth it. So let's take one of these ads. Let's say it's a $25 ad with us. And you go, well, I didn't make anything back on it. Yeah, but not only did you have the people that were in that space all day. So what passed through? 1,000 people? Very likely. I mean, what walked by the banner outside? Probably a good 5 to 8,000 people walked right by that banner. All the people that were in the event, all the people that were on panels, did they take a picture in front of the banner, which they do, and then share it on their social media? Well, what's their reach? We've had some bigger named authors there, people with, thousands and thousands of followers. Okay, so now your 100 followers saw the picture, but their 8,000 followers or 100,000 followers saw the picture as well with your logo prominent in there. Was that worth the $100? Hell yeah. It's that reach. It's that reach, and it's how you capitalize on it. Make them aware. What did you put on the banner? Were you being clever and just put a hand with a knife? Or thinking, wow, people really like, what is that? And they'll be intrigued. Or did you put your website or whatever the call to action is to get people to actually do something? I don't know. I don't know. You got to think about all those little things and where that offset is. I really hope I'm making sense. I sure feel like I'm making sense here. And I think we're diving into once again integrated marketing, because everything I'm saying you're kind of tying together. You're thinking about not only branding and visual and all that, but where it's going and how it's being used. And then integrate it all together if you can. So if I advertise this show on the banner, which I'm going to, I also put on there that I'm doing this live at that convention. So it'll have the logo, watch live on YouTube at blank, see me live Saturday morning, 10 a.m. right here. That's what it says on my thing. But it has the logo. It has all the elements there. And then I share it on social media. I have it on the video right there. I have it on the website. I have a message that I'm putting out there about what pour over is. I'm trying to anyway. I'm trying to integrate all the different things. So there's one pretty clear message like, hey, this is painless marketing. I'm trying to help you with your marketing in a very painless way, and drinking coffee. All right, what kind of questions do we have? Nobody's asking questions today. I'm either completely captivating or I've driven everybody to sleep. It is Saturday morning, so it is a possibility. Running low on the coffee today. I should have brought my French press down. Would have been happier. Uh, no questions, huh? We've got 6 of you out there. Okay. So once again, if you do want to get on one of those banners, get on one of the screens, get something in a swag bag, reach out to me. I would love to have you there because it it works. It's good advertising. Uh, and who knows? When I go back and I analyze it, maybe I'll see like, oh, the cons in the South reacted this way. The ones in the North reacted this way. That might be another dividing line. Something different. Louisville might react differently than Indianapolis, might react differently than LA or Chicago or New York. I mean, we could start seeing something there. Caffeine hasn't kicked in yet. Do you mean for me? Because we know that it was. Now it's kind of dipping a little bit. No, I know you mean for you. Styles and smarts. Okay. Rachel, you're watching on YouTube. Awesome. So this looks okay on YouTube. I'm actually the YouTube channel's been interesting. I still, for some reason, cannot get this to push to the new Media Lab. That has its own YouTube channel. And the reason I haven't done a lot with it is I can't seem to get it to take these streams. I had tried doing like webinars on there, and I don't know, whatever that channel is janky. There's something up, probably some setting that I just have not figured out yet. Uh, but you're on the Southgate Media Group one, which is awesome. Uh, I know you are because it's not on the other. Uh, yeah. So if you look at the channel, that's been interesting. We've had it for so long, 11 years. And other than putting out like, hey, subscribe to us, we've never really done our diligence with our YouTube channel. And I'm realizing there's a value that I'm missing out there in a big way, probably because it seems overwhelming right now. We let it go so long that we have 9,000 videos on there. Uh, in order to do this right, we're going to have to really pay attention to it, curate it, change the artwork, add end cards, all the blah, 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 blah stuff. And where do you start? So on the new stuff, if you go in and you look at any of the new alley chats, uh, I have a new way of doing it where I have uh, a thing for audio only, and then I have the video. So you see two distinct pieces of artwork. That helps. They have end cards. They have a thing that sends you to playlists. That helps. And the interesting thing is, since I've been doing this project for a little over a month, we're growing. I'm seeing people adding in, which is fantastic. Uh, I haven't analyzed it yet to see, are they coming in, subscribing, and actually watching things? Are they staying there? Or do they ditch in 30 seconds? They subscribe because they think our stuff's cool, but they stay for 30 seconds and they leave. That's important. How do we add content or do something that hooks people so they want to stay and watch what we do? You know, you guys stay for this. This is an hour. How do we make that happen on the YouTube side? And there is a thing with YouTube. You want to get to 1,000 followers before they consider turning on money. Okay. So 1,000 is that threshold. Then they start looking at engagement and all that kind of stuff, watch time and all that, which we're not great on. Um, but I'm going to share that in a second, Jim. Good to see you, Jim. I'm happy you're here. Uh, you want to look at all those factors in order to capitalize on YouTube. Yeah, it's harder now to become the YouTube billionaire that we used to see. And for somebody like me who is not, I don't know if you guys can tell, I am not an 18-year-old uh, beat boy or whatever they call him. That's probably some old name, but I'm not. So I'm going to have a harder time making a splash on YouTube theoretically. This show is never going to explode on YouTube, but we could get a solid following. We could be in the area where it's generating some income and it's reaching more people. To me, that's actually the most important thing. The more reach I can get, the more people can engage with it and watch it. I I know the money will come, right? I want to help people. You see that here. My whole thing is let's take the pain out of it. Let's make it so you understand it and you can work with it. And if I've done that, if I've inspired somebody to like succeed at their business, holy crap, I'm a happy guy. All right, Jim, I'm going to see what you said. Good stuff, Rob. Not only valuable insight, but providing a perspective of the consumer to your audience is so important to evaluate the effectiveness of their marketing. Yes. Very impressed with your show. You mean this show, right, Jim? That's a joke. Thanks, Jim. That actually feels really good to hear that. And it's good to hear from you every time I see your name in there. Jim and I were friends in college, uh, and we had some good times. He's a great guy, so it's good to see Jim on there. Speaking of college days, I saw Jack not long ago. He was in town. He lives down in Nashville now. Uh, so good to see him. He's as close to a brother as I have, and that was awesome. We talked about you a little bit, Jim. I told him that you're on these calls sometimes watching and interacting a little bit. He's like, "Oh yeah, Jim," you know. Uh, we went to a jazz band reunion. Talk about nerds. We went to one a few years ago. Jack was in town and he dragged me to it. Uh, and yeah, Jack is a trumpet icon. Um, he's amazing. Uh, so he dragged me to this reunion. I never go to that kind of stuff, even though it's dumb. You should. It's good networking. But it was fun. We saw a lot of the old band members, but like Bill, the drummer, was there. I haven't seen him in 30 years. Uh, Sharon was there. We got to talk all about her career in law enforcement, which was fun, and how. Oh, no, I can't share it here. Nobody wants to hear about my funny story about Jack at it. Just know that there is never a time that I'm with Jack that I don't have some kind of funny story because he's just he's a walking enigma. He's fantastic. Okay, so anyway, back to marketing. What and ask questions. We have only about 13 minutes left. So if you got questions, now's the time. There's a jazz reference for you. That was the name of a Charlie Parker album. Uh, okay, so what else has been happening? So we've talked about data. We've talked about analyzing. We've talked about integrating. Actually, I guess this is our last chance to use BAM, Integrated Marketing Palooza as a logo. It ends this week. Next week, we're back to the regular show, which was no different than this one. But the month of Integrated Marketing Palooza is over. Who knows what we'll do in the future? Speaking of the future, one thing I would really like to do, and I need to know if there's interest in this, is I don't know if you guys remember when we did that experiment. It was the thing that Maeve and I had created, the Catalyst Party, and I did a version of it on here. I would really like to do that. And I don't know if we want to do it on here or if we want to break off into a private group, but I would really like to do it. And let me explain what it is. I know we've talked about it before, but I'm going to explain it uh, because some of you won't know and might be interested. And if you are interested in doing this or have ideas for how we could execute this, send me an email. Okay. Uh, Send me a message on Facebook, drop me a message in here, as a comment on this, because afterwards these post to the New Media Lab page, and I believe they post to Southgate Media Group, and you can post it in there, just like, hey, I'm interested, DM me. Uh, it's called Catalyst, and what we do, I mean, I sit here and I give a lot of answers and talk a lot, as you know. But I'm of the mindset that there's genius sitting next to you. I think people have brilliant ideas, no matter what they do. Doesn't mean every idea they have is gold. Doesn't mean every idea I have is gold by any stretch. But I think that genius is next to you. And that's not discounting your genius because guess what? You're next to them, right? Uh, so what Catalyst is, and we did it on here one time, you come with a question, one question, something business related. In this case, clearly marketing related. You could even do it for other things. You could do it for life. You could do it for finances. You could do it for anything. I like to do it about business. Okay. But now that I'm thinking about it, it could be fun to do it for just about anything. Uh, but what you do is you come with your question. Uh, you have a moderator. In this case, it's me. And usually I look over the question to make sure this is concise enough you're going to get answers. Because sometimes we ask a question, it's like, you're leading, they're going to answer it the way you want them to. That's not what you want. You want it to be broad enough, yet concise enough in thought to get answers back that are going to be beneficial to you. So I'll give you an example. If I were to say, I want to grow pour over marketing, I've tried, or I, no, not even that. I want to grow pour over marketing and reach more people. What are your ideas? That's a really vague one, but you know what? I'm going to get things about social media. I'm going to get things about website, about newsletter. I'm going to get all this stuff, right? But what you do in this party is if we ask it on here, we might just get a single line idea, 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 which I do like. The way we do it as a functional party is each person gets, say, 1 minute. So, Jim, you ask a question like that, and then everybody in the group, they get 1 minute to throw their ideas in. You, as Jim, as the one asking the question, you're not allowed to respond. So let's say that everybody comes back with, well, you should have a Facebook page. And you're like, I have a Facebook page. Don't say that. Let them say it to you. Because somebody's going to say, have a Facebook page that has a group and the group does blank and you do this and you go, oh, that's the key to unlocking the Facebook page that I was talking that I already have. Oh, there's a different way to say that. Okay. So the person asking the question is not allowed to respond because it muddies the answers. We want to get unfiltered answers back and everybody in the group. And that's why you keep the groups fairly small. Uh, if you think you're doing a minute a person, uh, if you've got an hour to do it, you probably want to do 10 people max, right? And everybody gets a minute. So if there's 5 questions, you got pretty much an hour eaten up of giving these answers. And then afterwards is more, let's sit around and like we could discuss it. You could go up and say, what did you mean by this? This happened when we did it in here. I actually asked about growing pour over. And I kept getting certain things back about a blog and what they wanted in a blog and that. And if I had gone, but I have a blog, I'm not going to get all the answers that I was actually looking for. There was somebody in there that wrote something that made me go, oh, that's what they want. And that gave me the stuff to to actually change my blogs. So I have two of them. I have one called Mic Drop, which is only podcasting, and one called Pour Over Marketing. What a shock. Those are the two I do for this, uh, the businessy side of my business. And you know what? It worked. I do get, I'm not getting a ton of traction yet, but I can see, I have a clearer vision of what that is and how that will work for me based on a suggestion that was made in the thread. So I would like to do that with this group. I would love to, once again, either do something live on the show here if we can get enough people to come in with questions. If everybody were to come with questions next week and I said, we're having a catalyst party, give me a hands up on here to tell me you've got a question. If we get 5 questions, we're off to the races. Let's do this thing. So I guess there's your challenge between now and next week. Think of a question. If you have 10 questions, pick the one for next week. And let's ask it. Share it with me. Let's ask it. Let's see what happens. And then afterwards, maybe on the new Media Lab page, we can make a, you know how they have in the groups, they have, you can have like breakout rooms. Maybe we set up breakup rooms. If you're getting into discussion, you're like, man, I really want a breakup room to find out more. We open them up. And then you can go in there and you can talk and find out more. You know, you don't have to give them your information. You know, it's not like, oh God, now I've got all these followers I don't want. No, you can do it in this private group. Ask your questions. Like I said, with Books of Horror, I'm in now like 4 different groups that are attached to it. And it's been great. It's been fabulous, actually. The other day I got in discussion in, you know how you can do the message threads now, and they can get really annoying. Well, they have one that's not annoying. Somebody asked a marketing question, I answered, and then all of a sudden it was like, wham! People asking questions and talking to me and going, wait a minute, you're the guy that does those podcasts. Do you have a podcast about marketing? Do you have this? And I was like, oh, personal touch. Did my thing with them, and now all of a sudden they want to talk to me. They're seeing some value there, which is awesome. Okay, we got 3 minutes. Last chance. Questions? Okay, so remember, on Facebook, it's New Media Lab is the home of this, but I do share it to my personal. So if you're a friend with me, it's there. I share it to Southgate Media Group. It's there. I don't know if I share it to my personal as much. I think I share it occasionally. On YouTube, on the Southgate Media Group YouTube channel, it's there. I'm going to start sharing these on our Patreon. We have a Buy Me Coffee that I am going to start doing a small podcast thing on there. But actually, more important to you guys is there's Ko-Fi. Molly told me this week that I should not be doing Buy Me Coffee. I should be doing Ko-Fi. So Southgate Media Group has Buy Me Coffee, but I'm actually going to do Ko-Fi for this. And I'll probably make, well, I know I'm going to make something for that. So the people that buy me a coffee get some kind of perk. Maybe it's like a short little 5-minute breakdown of something, or I answer questions on there. Wouldn't that be cool? People sending questions, I answer one question a week on there that's only there. It's not on here. That would be really cool. I would really like that. Or maybe I'll sing because you can tell by my voice. I mean, who hasn't wanted to hear a garbage truck sing, right? All right, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy your week. This was fabulous. I hope you liked it as much as I did. We had a good crowd today. If you need anything from me, write to me. If you want to do a private consultation about your marketing, reach out to me. Melissa wants me to sing. I'll work up to that. Maybe we'll make that a Patreon thing. Buy me coffee, right? You'd be surprised. I'm actually not bad. Although you hear me now and it sounds like it would be bad. So there we go. Thank you guys. And if you do want to do advertising with Writers Row, I'll cut you a 50% deal, but you got to write to me. And Wednesday is the cutoff. Whatever comes in between now and then, that's it. You know what? I should put let me see if I have the website. I can throw it right in here. Here we go. I'm putting it in the comments. There it is. That's the breakdown um, of the event, of the advertising. It's all on that website. Take those numbers, knock it in to 50%. Okay? Don't tell anybody. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.